So the first thing I need to do to this yellow Mach 1 is get the title in my name and get the car registered. And so I made an appointment and went to the DMV. You have to make an appointment here because of the way things are right now. And guess who I got? Nobody but the same lady that helped me last time that was like a sloth. I don't know if you remember the last video of getting the silver car registered, the silver 03 GT. The lady had given me a really hard time, but this time she was really nice, and I'll say she was very easy to work with, and she came right out and did the VIN inspection, everything right on the spot. So right there in the parking lot, I went ahead and swapped the license plates over. And this DMV is actually pretty close to where I work, so it was nice. I could just do this on the way home from work. And there is an awesome drive on the way home from work if I go the back way. So I'm going to show you some of these pictures of how beautiful it is out here. And then we'll get to the next thing that I'm doing to the car right after this. So this is the nice drive home.
I put it down from the whip to my diamonds on it. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Black stripe, yellow paint. Hear them haters talk, but there's nothing you could tell them. Just made $1 million, got another million on my schedule. No love for them, nigga breaking hearts. No keys, push to start. Yeah, you know what it is. Everything I do it good. Yeah, screaming that stuff. When I pulled up the lot,
Alright, so I'm back home and it's time to start working on the car. The only issue that this car's had so far is the driver's seat doesn't work. And I stopped at the Las Vegas pick-apart and I took the whole bottom of a different seat, the rail, motors, everything, out of a 40th anniversary V6, and it's the same bracket, same motors, same everything. And so the first thing I wanted to do was take these seats out. A little bit difficult because the bolts are harder to get to since you can't move the seat back and forth because the motor doesn't work. But I just wanted to go ahead and do this first. Now I wasn't sure if this was exactly what was going to be wrong with it, but it was a good step. And I went ahead and bought that seat track and motor and everything so that if that was the case, I wouldn't have to order one online, wait for it to get here, and then find out whether it was the problem or not. So I'm happy that I bought that. So I unplugged the seat and here I am getting it on out of the car. And of course I'm going to clean this all out. It's what I do with every Mustang I own. I take the seats out. And look, I started going through. There's silver, 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 25, bunch of quarters. And I was actually surprised how much change there was in here. So a lot of silver pieces, so that's good. That'll help buy me lunch after I get done with all this. So I got the seat track prepped, got it all set up where I want it to be, where I can have it plugged in, and then get the seat over there and get it all plugged in. But before I could do that, I had to take the base off of the seat. Obviously, this has the same 4 bolts that hold it on, just like any 99-04 seat. And so I test fit the new seat and plugged it in, and it did not work. So the next step that I wanted to do, my friend came over with a Shelby GT350 and we both talked about it, and we suggested that we go ahead and pull the Cobra out and try swapping the seat from the Cobra in and seeing if it's a seat or the wiring. So I took the base of the Cobra seat off, swapped it over, still had nothing. So now we decided to go ahead and start testing the wires. This was probably the first thing we should have done, but it's just easier sometimes.
There's some
to
people
do the
that have
quick thing and just
wherever
swap
this
the
is
motor.
going.
So here's us diagnosing the wires.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Green,
okay, good.
green. Here's the other one.
Nothing.
Nothing. And we're gonna do that in this car.
So now at least I'm going to vacuum the car out. And so you can see the car was a little bit dirty under the carpet. They all are, so there's no problem there. And I thought as long as I have the seat out of the orange Cobra, I'll vacuum it out. The orange Cobra, I have never taken the seats out of this car yet. So we figured out that the wire underneath the seat is bad, and we'll get around to that later. But what I did in the meantime was I put the Mach 1 seat in the Cobra, adjusted it to where I wanted it, unplugged it, put it in the Mach 1, and so now I can drive the Mach 1 in the seats where I need it to be. Drove it to work, parked next to my brother there. And then the next day I decided to um, cut back this whole wiring harness I have. It's an extra wiring harness from a GT, and I wanted to run some wires to that motor, and that way I can um, use it with a jumper box. And so I had to get some of the larger wire gauges from the engine harness, and I was able to plug them into the bottom. I knew the bottom two plugs were the power, and then I put some onto the ground too. But this is hard to see, but basically I just put those pins right on the connectors using the factory connectors from depinning the wiring harness from there. And look, see, it works. Okay, so now I can get it to move forward and back, and that's using a jump starter box for power. So this isn't something that's just gonna keep working this way. I mean, it would be tedious to have to do that all the time, but I'm basically gonna just leave the seat where I want it for now. So here is a little look at what I did. These are the engine harnesses, the bigger ones. This plugs into the main harness under the hood. But you can see here on the corners, those are the bigger gauge wires, and I did depin those and took them out and crimped them to normal size. This is what it looks like. You have the factory bigger size cylinders that will go on the plug. So those will go on the plug under the seat, and then I can just use these other ends. I crimped them to extend them, and then those other ends can just go to the jump starter box. But here's a little video of the seat working that way. I can put it where I wanted it. It was just still a little bit too far forward when I drove it to work the night before, but now it's just fine, so I got it right where I want it. So now I'm just enjoying the car. This is a beautiful sunrise driving in the morning, and you can see I went to run some errands. I love walking out to the car and seeing the stripes. I've talked a lot about the stripes on the zinc yellow, how I love how they fade there towards the back, and it's very, very easy to see that on the zinc yellow and the white Mach ones specifically. And I talked about that with my first Mach 1 that was yellow. When I was talking about why I like zinc yellow. So that was kind of fun to see that picture. I'm starting to be able to look the car over and see more of it, because the only thing I've really seen of the car is driving it home and then walking out to it a little bit into the parking lot and when I take to work. So it's nice to actually get to see the car a little bit more and get to know it a little more. So that's the first update for the zinc yellow Mach 1, and there are a few more things that are to come immediately, things that I want to work on with the car now. And just wanted to thank everyone who watched the channel, and a special thanks to everybody on my first video of getting this car. Everyone was so supportive of this car. I had a lot of great comments. I want to thank everybody for being so nice and being part of the community. There's a lot of us who are talking on there, and I'm noticing friendships in the comments between people who are getting to know each other from watching this channel and similar channels with the New Edge Mustangs and the Cobras. So I just want to thank all my friends and everybody who watches the channel for your support. So Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I have a lot more coming for this car.